Hi, in this particular video, we'll be discussing about the second data link layer protocol that is mentioned in our syllabus. We have already discussed bisync protocol in detail. We have studied the features of bisync protocol and we have seen how the frames look like and how it operates. Same thing we have to do for this protocol also. Okay, so we start with this protocol. It is called as HDLC protocol, stands for high level data link control protocol. Like bisync, this guy also has features that we need to study. Okay, now many a times for a semester paper this question has explained the difference between bisync and HDLC. So you have to give some points. Okay, there we'll just do a small recap of bisync protocol, the features of bisync protocol. That protocol was byte oriented. It was supporting 3 code sets and it was supporting synchronous and two-way alternate communication, and it was also supporting point to point and point to multi-point communication. Now we'll see what is different over here. The first point is that it is bit oriented. We have discussed this that the protocol is either byte oriented or bit oriented. Okay, that is the bisync protocol is byte oriented and this is bit oriented. We know what is byte and what is bit oriented protocol. We have discussed this. Okay, the second point to differentiate over here is that over there in bisync it was only supporting two-way alternate communication, but if you see over here it is supporting two-way alternate communication as well as it also supports two-way simultaneous communication over full duplex circuit. So this is one more point that you can highlight, that it is supporting only two-way alternate communication, that is in bisync, and here for HDLC it supports two-way alternate communication as well as two-way simultaneous communication. Okay, there is one more point also that you can write for the semester paper. In your bisync it supports only synchronous communication. Here it supports synchronous as well as asynchronous communication. This is the third point which is there, which you can write. Okay, and here like bisync it supports point to point as well as point to multi-point communications. Okay, so here also it is same. Here this protocol also supports point to point and point to multi-point communication. Now here there is communication between equal stations and between host and remote stations, and it has full data transparency. Here you will understand this better as we study it in detail. Now there are three types of stations. Now this is also a question that is asked for a semester paper. Explain the types of station in HDLC protocol. So there are three types of stations. One is something called as primary station, and then secondary station, and then combined station. Okay. Now this is very simple. We have something called as primary, secondary. There was a host and tributary stations. Here there is primary and secondary station, and combined station is somebody who can be primary as well as a secondary station. So we'll discuss this in detail properly. A primary station, we'll talk about primary station first. Primary station has the responsibility of data link management. So the job of primary station is to actually form a link before it actually transmits data or receives data. This is the first thing. The secondary station operates under the control of primary station. Okay, so it is like secondary station has to listen to primary station, and a combined station can act as both primary as well as secondary station. Okay, so combined station can act as primary as well as secondary station. Okay, so same thing I mentioned over here, that primary station has the responsibility of data link management, secondary station operates under the control of primary station, and combined station can act as primary as well as secondary station. Here there is one interesting figure that is shown over here. Let's see over here. Okay, when there is communication between primary station and secondary station, okay, the primary station has the responsibility of activating the link, maintaining the link, and disconnecting the link after the data transfer has occurred. So yeah, so it makes the link first and then the actual data transfer happens, and then finally the job of the primary station also is to disconnect the data link. Now one more important thing, all the frames which are sent from the primary station are called as commands. So all the frames which are sent by the primary station are called as commands, and all the frames which are sent by the secondary stations are called as responses. Okay, simple it is, right? So all the frames coming out from the primary station are called commands, and all the frames coming out from the secondary station are called responses. Now there can be communication between two logical station or two combined stations also. Now here say we have one combined station and we have one more combined. This is point to point. Now this combined station can act as primary station as well as secondary station. Same thing it is over here. Okay. Now with this example of this combined station can send commands as well as receive responses. Okay. So you can send commands and you can also receive responses. Okay. So it is like when this combined station sends a command, the other combined station has to respond. Okay, this is simple. Next, okay. Now this is also one question that is always asked in semester paper. Okay, mostly it is there. Explain. It basically comes to 6 or 8 marks. Explain the modes of operation of HDLC protocol. Now the first thing, the question can be direct, explain the modes of operation of HDLC protocol, or it can be also asked explain first three, explain the modes which are used during data transfer. Okay, or explain the modes of HDLC, modes of operation of HDLC, which refer to the states before and after data transfer phase. Okay, some questions like this are asked for a semester. I'll take them in detail. Okay, the first thing, modes of operation. The very first statement that you have to write over here is that there are 6 modes of operation. So these are 6 modes of operation which are listed over here. Now from these 6, this is important. Listen. Okay, first 3 modes are for data transfer phase. Now this first 3, that is the normal response mode, asynchronous response mode, and asynchronous balance mode, are for data transfer, and your last 3 modes, that is normal disconnected mode, asynchronous disconnected mode, and initialization mode, refer to the status before and after the data transfer phase. So if you are asked a separate question on to explain the modes which are used during data transfer or data, okay, then you have to write these first 3. Okay, explain these first 3 and which refer to states before and after data transfer. Then you have to write, discuss about this last 3. So good till here. Okay, now I'll just take each of them in detail. They are very simple, only that if you understand first 2, then everybody and then other modes are simple. Okay, what I will do is that I will take out of these 6, I will just discuss this mode, that is normal response mode and asynchronous response mode together. We'll try to compare these two, then it becomes easy to understand. Now if you see properly over here, both are response mode only. Here also it is a response mode, here also it is a response mode. The only thing that is different over here is that this is asynchronous response mode and this is normal response mode. Okay, we have asynchronous and we have synchronous. So this guy is synchronous. Okay, so the very first thing what you have to write over here is that for normal response mode, it is synchronous mode. It is synchronous mode of communication. This is the first statement that you write. Okay, when it is synchronous mode of communication, this is very important statement. Okay, the secondary station can send frames only after taking permission from the primary station. So only after taking permission from the primary station, the secondary station can send frames. Okay, now there in your asynchronous response mode, the very first line what you write is that it is asynchronous mode of communication. It is asynchronous mode of communication between primary and secondary station. Now since it is asynchronous, secondary station can send frames without permission from the primary station. So secondary station need not take permission, okay, from the primary station. So this is a very basic difference between normal response mode and your asynchronous response mode, in which normal response mode you have to write it is a synchronous mode of communication, and here you have to write it is asynchronous mode of communication. And in normal, since it is synchronous, it has to take permission. Who? Now the secondary station has to take permission to send frames, and since this asynchronous response mode is asynchronous, the secondary station can send frames without taking permission from the primary station. Okay, now in both these modes, okay, that is a normal response mode and the asynchronous response mode, the primary station controls overall link management. So that is, it will make the link and maintain the link and disconnect the link. So in both the cases, the statement is safe. The primary station controls overall link management system. Okay, and in this mode is applicable to point, that is a normal response mode. It is applicable to point and point to multi-point configuration. It is same over here also. Okay, so it is applicable to point and point to multi-point configuration for asynchronous response mode. Now there is one small point that you can add over here, is that in asynchronous response mode, in point to multi-point configuration, okay, only one secondary station can be active at a time. Okay, so only one secondary station is active at a time, and the other secondary stations must be kept in disconnected mode. Okay, this is something that you have to write. Okay, make a note of. Asynchronous. Next we move to asynchronous balance mode. Now balance mode meaning it is between combined station. Combined station meaning now it will be point to point. Okay, so it is applicable to point communication between two combined stations. So two combined stations are talking. Now since both combined station can be primary as well as secondary, so here it is written both stations are capable of link management whenever required. So in the previous modes we have discussed that the primary station controls the overall link management. Here both the stations can be primary as well as secondary, so both stations are capable of link management system. Now since they are your combined station, they can issue commands and force a response from the other station. So one guy can be primary, the other station can be secondary, so it can issue commands, one can issue commands and force a response from the other station. Since it is asynchronous, so asynchronous means what now? It can send frames without any explicit permission from the other station. Okay, this is very simple. Normal disconnected mode. Now here in normal disconnected mode, the stations are logically disconnected. Okay, now they need those stations, they need to exchange mode setting commands to come out of the disconnected mode. Okay, they have to exchange. We'll understand this properly, what are mode setting commands. Okay, we will be discussing this in detail. Just for now you remember that they need to exchange mode setting commands to come out of the disconnected mode. When in normal disconnected mode, a secondary station is activated by mode setting command for normal response mode from the primary station. So when in normal disconnected mode, a secondary station is activated by the primary station by activating what now? Mode setting commands. Okay, now we have asynchronous disconnected mode. In this mode now, okay, the stations can enter. Now since it is asynchronous, we have they can enter asynchronous response mode or asynchronous balance mode. We have discussed both of these. Okay, so the stations can enter asynchronous response mode or asynchronous balance mode when the corresponding mode setting commands is exchanged. Okay, secondary station in asynchronous disconnected mode can request for a mode setting command from the primary station to establish data transfer. So they have to exchange some mode setting commands to go into this modes. Okay, from if it is in asynchronous disconnected mode. Okay, and the last mode is called as initialization mode. In initialization mode, operational parameters are exchanged. It is invoked when primary station finds that secondary station is operating abnormally and its operational parameters corrected, or secondary station can itself request for a primary station from the primary for initialization mode if it is unable to function properly. So these were the modes that you need to understand. Thank you.